Oh, hi there. Here are some of my favorite lost media discoveries of 2025 so far, starting with one of the most infamous cases in recent memory, the dark episode of The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. On April 13th, 2022, an anonymous post was made to 4chan on a thread about the craziest live TV moments. One time, Jay Leno had a magician on his show, and he was doing some sort of cut the lady in half trick. He starts to cut, and the lady starts yelling for him to stop, like she was actually getting cut or about to get cut, and they start helping her out. I have never seen or heard anything else since, and never been able to find the clip. Now, if you ever saw an episode of The Tonight Show with Jay Leno over its 17-year run, you'd know the humor isn't exactly dark and edgy. A joke like this wouldn't really fit, so maybe OP was just misremembering or did the unthinkable and was lying on the internet. Unless there really was some kind of on-set accident that was left in the episode. Either way, this 4chan post caught the eye of Lost Media community member Bane Returns, who had to investigate, and the next day posted their findings to the Lost Media subreddit. Bane Returns was able to uncover two old forum posts from 2001 detailing the exact same event. The magician, as it turns out, was comedian Arsenio Hall, sawing a woman in half. She screams in pain, cuts to commercial, and is never mentioned again. And both of these forum posts agreed on a really interesting detail. The entire episode was in the dark. Between these two old forum posts all the way back in 2001 and a mention in 4chan 20 years later were all that Bane Returns could find. But Redditors in the comment section would have some better luck. They were able to find an article from thelist.com that even referred to this episode as lost, though there was no mention of a magic act gone wrong. So a little millennium history. Between 2000 and 2001, California was going through an energy crisis that caused the power companies to issue rolling blackouts, essentially turning off the power in certain areas at designated times. In solidarity, Jay Leno decided to film the July 21st, 2001 episode of The Tonight Show during one of these planned blackouts, calling it Unplugged. The show was filmed at NBC Studios in Burbank by candle and flashlight. The unusual setting allowed for some memorable moments. There was fire dancing, nocturnal animals, the band played an acoustic set, and of course, the most popular of low-light performances, a magic act, performed by comedian and talk show host Arsenio Hall. Even with all this knowledge, we were no closer to finding the episode itself. The Tonight Show was very popular in its day, but at an absurd 4,610 episodes, much of Jay Leno's time as host has been lost, including this peculiar, dark episode. Conspiracy theories were abound. The woman was injured or even killed. NBC had buried the incident, but accidentally left the segment in, never allowing it to air again. But this was finally debunked on February 24th, 2025, when the full episode was posted to YouTube by General Altro, who found it preserved on archive.org by Oakley Tapes. I had expected this incident to be greatly exaggerated, but sure enough, the incident with the woman being cut in half really did happen, pretty much exactly as everyone remembered. During the act, the woman does scream that she's been cut. Arsenio Hall then tries to play it off, yelling to get Johnny Cochran on the phone, a very topical reference at the time. The episode quickly cuts to commercial, and it's never mentioned again. As strange as the whole thing is, on closer inspection, it is very clearly intentional. You can see that when Arsenio brings the blade down, he's just miming putting his weight on it, so the assistant was never really cut in any way. And I completely understand why people might have thought this was real, an actual accident that happened on set. Both Jay Leno and Arsenio do a pretty bad job of conveying that it's a joke. And the whole thing is just strange, and more importantly, not funny. It's just played too seriously when it happens, and it's never brought up again. It's more like an alternative anti-humor thing you'd see on the Eric Andre show. It is wild that one poorly executed, ill-planned joke can lead to so much mystery and speculation. But the recording recovered from Oakley Tapes is a rerun, so maybe NBC planted it to throw off the conspiracy theorists, and we still need to track down the original. It's normal to be afraid of the dark, but one place you shouldn't be in the dark is concerning your online privacy, and that's where today's sponsor, Aura, is here to help. If you ever tried Googling yourself, you would be horrified to find out how much of your personal information is just floating around for anyone to see. People called data brokers collect your information and sell it off to the highest bidder, a very shady practice, but not technically illegal, and certainly not uncommon. Sites like this are legally required to remove your information if you ask. They make the process as difficult and confusing as possible on purpose. And that's where Aura.com comes in, removing your personal information from these websites and keeping it off. Along with freeing you from data brokers, Aura is an all-in-one digital security tool. It alerts you if your personal information is found on the dark web, gives you real-time fraud alerts, includes a VPN, antivirus, password manager, US-based support, and includes $5 million in identity theft insurance protection if anything does happen. Online safety really does not get much better than with Aura, and you can try it free for 14 days by going to aura.com/allthingslost. In those 2 weeks, you'll discover where your data is being exposed and sold. I'm not leaving myself vulnerable, and neither should you. Again, that's aura.com/allthingslost to try it free for 14 days. Riddle Blue. Blue's Clues is a classic American children's show about Steve, or Joe, and his dog Blue from the 90s and 2000s. The show was such a hit in its day, it was given a number of adaptations in different countries. I've even covered the British version in the past that was completely found in 2022. And at the height of Blue's North American popularity, South Korea made their own version, which translated to Riddle Blue or Mystery Blue. Its short run only lasted 34 episodes from July 2000 to November 2001, and instead of Steve, the Korean version had Uncle, and makes use of a Korean folk song for its opening theme. Shortly after the show ended, there were some official media releases on VHS and CD, but these were incomplete and are now exceedingly rare. So for over a decade, very little was recovered from the show's brief run. There was a TV bumper uploaded to YouTube, a clip from the Korean version was used in the Blue's Clues 10th anniversary special, and 2 Korean bloggers came across bits and pieces. One found a tape with part of an episode, only uploading screen grabs, and the other found the theme song. It wouldn't be until 19 years after the series ended that the first full episode would make its way online on June 16th, 2020 by the YouTube channel Shining Road TV that can now be found on the Internet Archive. And this would have a cascading effect. 4 more episodes were posted to the archive. But it wouldn't be until recently that the next major update was made, when 7 more full episodes were found on a Google Drive by the YouTube channel JJJ4. But the mystery is still not done. We're still left with 23 episodes that are lost. 7 of which have been partially found, 3 with clips, 1 with a few images, 1 that we found the script for, and 1 more episode that currently exists in a single photo found in the Blue's Clues book, Blue's Clues to Success by Diane Tracy. And believe it or not, one of the lost episodes is called The Lost Episode. What the f?
Oh, hi there. You scared the crap out of me. I'm Seth MacFarlane.
The Family Guy pilot. Family Guy has been a staple of adult animation since its debut on January 31st, 1999. Damn, Family Guy's been around since the 90s? But has quite a long history before it debuted on Fox. Family Guy can be traced back to Seth MacFarlane's thesis project at the Rhode Island School of Design with a short film called The Life of Larry. Similar to how Van Partible got Johnny Bravo off the ground, MacFarlane's thesis project was sent to Hanna-Barbera, leading him to get his own short on Cartoon Network's world premiere Toons in 1997 called Larry and Steve. Even though he got the short aired on Cartoon Network, the company didn't see its potential and passed on it. MacFarlane then attempted to make a more adult-oriented version for Mad TV, but the show didn't have the budget for animation. And in '98, MacFarlane was able to get his work in the hands of Fox executives, who gave him $50,000 to make an adult version of Larry and Steve. With such a small budget, MacFarlane had to do almost everything himself, writing the script, voicing multiple characters, and animating by hand. He would later tell the New York Times, "I spent 6 months with no sleep and no life, just drawing like crazy in my kitchen and doing this pilot." At the end of the 6 months, he handed in his 16-minute pilot to Fox. The show was picked up and the pilot was tweaked, remade into Death Has a Shadow, the first episode of Family Guy. The first 7 minutes of this pilot had been long available, being released as part of the Family Guy Volume 2 DVD back in 2003. These 7 minutes ended with a "coming soon" end screen, but that soon never came. Clips from the pilot were later discovered in interviews with Seth MacFarlane and in early commercials for the show. And a screen grab of the chicken fajitas joke was used on Family Guy's official merch store in 1999. Even though the pilot was never officially released in all this time, being considered partially lost, there were some rumblings in the darkest corners of the web that the 1998 pilot wasn't so lost. So another lore dump. Some of the very earliest online communities were on Tripod, a platform that allowed for free web hosting all the way back in 1995. And it's believed that in the 2000s, there was a Tripod site that contained the entire Family Guy pilot, split across 7 QuickTime videos. These rumors were more or less confirmed when low-quality images of the unreleased parts of the pilot were found on IMDb. Whatever the case, these leaked videos were never widely known of, and the pilot was considered officially found on March 20th, 2025 by Ghost, the Dead Girl, on the personal website of Robert Paulson, a crew member who worked on the pilot. The video had been sitting on his website since September 2022. It's always frustrating when that happens, but it goes to show just how much incredible lost media is floating around waiting for the right person to see it. Going through and comparing the aired episode and the unreleased pilot is pretty fun. The pilot had crude animation, and some of the characters had slightly different designs, like different clothing. Peter's nose is a little bigger, his glasses are thicker, Lois is blonde instead of a redhead, and this kind of explains why Chris is the only blonde member of the family. They were supposed to have the same hair color, but when Lois's hair was changed, his was not. The pilot episode also didn't include the iconic theme song, but the music does have the same vibe. And even without a longer opening, the pilot is still almost a full minute longer. But even with a shorter runtime, the official version was able to cram in a lot more jokes. Peter buys a lot more frivolous things in the actual episode, like a moat, plastic surgery for Meg, and time with Jerry Seinfeld. They added a Tiananmen Square joke, and this reoccurring gag with the angel and devil on Peter's shoulder. One of the more notable changes comes from when Peter's trying to give away his money. In both versions of the episode, Peter buys a blimp to throw his money at people. But when Family Guy aired on Fox, it premiered right after the Super Bowl. And so to tie into this, instead of Peter just giving away his money in the streets, like in the pilot, in the aired version, he gives it away at the Super Bowl. But in my opinion, the greatest sin of the original pilot is that it doesn't include the Kool-Aid Man joke. Like, everyone just says, "Oh no," and there's no punchline. I wonder if this was just scrapped because it was too difficult for Seth MacFarlane to animate all by himself. All in all, this is really one of the best discoveries of the year. Toon News. Toon News was a series of shorts that played during commercial breaks on Toon Disney from 2004 to 2005. It's one of those things that's kind of a show in its own right that also serves as a commercial for upcoming programs. Toon News, as you might guess, takes the form of a news broadcast, hosted by a robot cowboy, Smokey Silvers, reporting from the Toon News blimp over Toontown. The shtick was that it would take shows airing on Toon Disney and find ways to make news stories about them. Just kind of a fun way to get kids excited about upcoming programming. Even though the host is a cowboy, a cultural symbol of America, Toon News only aired in regions of Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. All 26 shorts, released across 2 seasons, were directed by Kathy McDonald, and pretty much everything that's been preserved from Toon News comes from her. McDonald posted the first 3 episodes to YouTube in 2017, and over the years would post 3 more, before finally returning after years of silence in 2025, with the first 8 episodes of Season 2, where she continues to post to this day. Right now, there are still 6 lost episodes from Toon News, all from Season 2. There have been some others who've contributed to archiving Toon News, like numerous clips have been found in animator show reels, and a clip in Portuguese was uploaded by a Disney fan channel. But it really demonstrates just how poorly preserved the show is, that we're almost solely relying on the creator, having kept them around for 20 plus years. But if we have anything to learn from history, I'm willing to bet McDonald will have the rest uploaded soon. Big and Small. Big and Small is a 2008 puppet series about 2 friends who are completely different living together in a scenic cottage. There's Big, a large purple bear known for his inventions and soft-spoken demeanor, and his best friend Small, a tiny, hyperactive orange rabbit with a wild imagination. The show was a collaboration between Canada and the UK, airing both on Canadian Treehouse TV and the British station CBeebies. Filming was done by the Canadian team for local broadcast and was dubbed over in the UK for their own markets. The show was more popular in the UK, owing some of their success to famed British actor Lenny Henry, who voiced both Big and Small in the UK dub. The networks aired 78 episodes across 3 seasons between 2008 and 2011, and they were well received for their music and its message of making friends with people who have different perspectives than you. But once Big and Small concluded, following season 3, the series fell into obscurity, only given a few official DVD releases that added up to 22 episodes total, leaving the series largely incomplete. Eventually, in 2021, the Big and Small official YouTube channel would start posting full episodes, including 26 more that were not found on DVD, but for some reason had not uploaded the remaining 30 episodes. The search for the missing episodes of Big and Small would remain dormant for the next 3 years, when, seemingly out of nowhere, the dry spell was broken on August 2nd, 2024 by Media Lover 321, who uploaded the entire first and second seasons of the Canadian dub to Google Drive. This was then rounded off on April 14th, 2025 by Pixar fan 8695, who posted the 3rd season of the Canadian version to Mega, and the final piece of the puzzle came from Dailymotion user Calvin Jacks, uploading the final lost episode of the UK dub, Spring Fling, on May 11th, 2025. The entire series is officially found, but the franchise as a whole is not. There was a live stage show called Big and Small, Happy Together. This show ran for 1 single day across 3 performances at the Richmond Hill Centre for the Performing Arts in Ontario, Canada on October 13th, 2011. This limited run has made the live show incredibly rare, and it seems to only exist in 2 photos and a 1-minute long clip that was posted to YouTube. These all came from audience members, and by all accounts, the live show appears to have never been officially or unofficially filmed in its entirety. It looks like that Big and Small, Happy Together only remains in the memories of those in attendance until the day those memories fade away as well. And lastly, I have to end with what might be one of the top 10 best finds of the decade so far. Down the Mine, the pitch pilot for Thomas and Friends. So Thomas and Friends and the titular Thomas the Tank Engine originate from the Railway series, a British children's book series written by Wilbert Awdry from 1945 to 1972, later continued by his son Christopher Awdry until 2011. The books follow a group of anthropomorphic vehicles across the Northwestern Railway on the fictional island of Sodor. There were initially a couple attempts to make a railway TV show that never made it past the pilot stage, a live BBC adaptation in the 50s, and a 1976 animated musical adaptation conceived by Broadway legend Andrew Lloyd Webber, both of which are lost. When the musical version fell through, the rights to make a Railway series TV show was bought by Britt Allcroft in 1979. Allcroft had a small budget to make a test pilot to pitch the show to various networks. She believed so much in the project that she took out a mortgage on her own home to keep production running. Filming took place at Clearwater's Battersea studio over 3 weeks from March to April 1983, basing the episode on the Railway series story, Down the Mine. The pilot was completed and well received, picked up by ITV for 26 episodes on the first season, and Down the Mine was remade as the 25th episode. The series continued all the way until 2021 when it was rebooted, but in all of these years, the original 1983 pilot of Down the Mine that brought the iconic Railway series to life has never been seen by the public, with the exception of a single shot that was reused in the remade episode. In 2022, a production packet for the first series was leaked that included the shooting script, dialogue, and some behind-the-scenes production documents for the pilot. This packet also informed us that the pilot was narrated by Ringo Starr, who did serve as the narrator in the series proper, but it's really surprising that they got a Beatle for the pilot episode, given its small budget. I mean, maybe Ringo was the reason why Allcroft had to take out a mortgage. Later, through some leaked emails, it was confirmed that the 1983 pilot was in the possession of Mattel, who had plans to release it for the 80th anniversary of the franchise. We hoped this would happen, and it seemed promising, but there were no updates, making it unclear if this would actually happen or not. Finally, on May 8th, 2025, it was confirmed. The Reading Chronicle broke the story that the pilot episode, Down the Mine, would be released on YouTube, just in time for the franchise's 80th anniversary. The very next day, Down the Mine was posted to the official Thomas and Friends YouTube channel. But with one caveat. The version released is a recreation. Some of the original 1983 footage was too badly damaged and had to be redone. Thus, this unbelievable piece of found lost media remains incomplete, maybe forever, marking a sad ending to this epic lost media release. knowing it may never truly be completely found. So there it is, some of my favorite lost media discoveries of the year so far. I left out a lot of really great ones, so let me know what you want me to include in a follow-up. Shout out to my Patreon supporters, including Miss Dana, Vinny Cataldo, and Can You Say Rocco Mafleur. Thank you all so much. I'll see you soon.